Yes, guys, episode 29 of the Blue Balls podcast. And we're actually coming into this pod in a slightly optimistic run of form. I say optimistic because I don't really think it's proven a lot, but there's results. For the first time in a while, we've got a run of wins. We've got, I think, 4 home wins in a row, 4 or 5, something along the lines of that. We've won 3 on the bounce. I think this is the first time we've won 3 on the bounce all season. I don't know. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but it's good to be in a slightly optimistic mood. I say slightly because we're going to talk about the games, and I know as soon as we talk about the games, it's going to take a sudden turn, but it's good to have a couple wins on the board as a bare minimum. And to all the toxic positive merchants in the comment section, that's as far as I'm willing to go with you guys. Other than that, sorry, we're not on the same boat. But big up to everybody that's locked in anyway. Hit the like button, subscribe, all of that, and welcome back to another show. Scott, what are you telling me, my guy? You all good?
Yeah, I'm decent. Happy that we're through to the next round of the cup. Hoping we get Maidstone away for personal reasons. And yeah, just looking forward to obviously Middlesbrough. Hoping we can win there. Like we're 3 games away from, or 3 wins away, I should say, from a trophy this season, which most of us would have taken at the start of the season. I think all of us would take now, considering our start and kind of where we are. And I think that's kind of the bare minimum we've got to expect between now and the end of the season is at least 1 trophy and try and move towards those European spots.
Hear that. Just keep the run of wins going. The performances, as much as they may annoy me, as long as you get the results, it's okay for the most part. But yeah, I do agree with you, bro. Big up, Kev. Big up, Kev. Welcome back to the show as well. What are you telling me, man?
Oh, all good, all good. Positive end to the year, positive start to the year. Let's forget 2023 never happened. That year went past in the flash. Worst year in the history of the club, probably. We was the worst team in the Premier League, statics wise. But let's move forward. We started the year. This is our chance. This January, we couldn't have asked for a better January than now. Look at the games we've got. We've got Middlesbrough coming up, back to Middlesbrough. We've got Fulham at home, the Middlesbrough again, and potentially FA Cup them Liverpool. So we can get 4 or 5 wins before Liverpool, and that would have took us to 6 wins on the bounce. That hasn't happened with Chelsea for many of years. So the positivity is there, like you said. Optimistic about the future, but we've got to put the past behind us and move forward. I still think we're a couple of signings away from being the team there where we want to be. But let's just try and get a string of results together. We're 10th place. It's not acceptable, but the only way is up. I can't see us going backwards now. Fingers crossed.
Yep, again, all we've needed is a run because everyone around us is going to drop points. Like Newcastle, just to start, they got Man City and Aston Villa coming up. We have Fulham and I think Liverpool away, which isn't going to be ideal, but it usually ends up in a draw all the time. So there is there is an opportunity for us to climb up on the likes of Newcastle. And Man United will drop points for fun. Brighton will eventually. They got a leaky ass defense. West Ham, difficult team, but not really that consistent. The whole race has never been about consistency. That's why if you ever get a run, it is so vital for you because everyone else will drop points. Last but not least, my guy Fato, what are you telling me, bro? You all good?
Oh, good, man. First part of the year, actually, that we've got. So, yeah, I'm glad that we start a new year on a high and hopefully the momentum continues, isn't it? We got another road to Wembley on Tuesday, so looking forward to that.
I hear it. I didn't want to start on transfer news, but just because you're here, I think we might as well start. Thoughts on the betrayal of Timo Werner, my friend? Your client
look, I know I've got a lot of people asking this question a lot. To be honest with you, I'm the biggest advocate in the lockdown days with Werner and that, but as soon as I realized I learned my harsh lesson about standing a player stand back in the day. But yeah, it feels a bit weird, but at the same time, I'm not really kind of like that emotionally invested just purely because like it's not my football club anymore that he's gonna play. So I don't have much to say about him regardless, innit? Like if he's coming to Tottenham just to sabotage their season, I'm here for it, man. I'm here for the chaos. That's all I want to see.
I'm hoping he does it, but I don't know if it'll be his intention to do it.
All I got to say, all of our key men from the Champions League winning squad have gone to rivals. Jorginho, Arsenal, Havertz, Arsenal, Man U, Kovacic, City, and now Werner to Tottenham. We touched upon this a few months ago, Lewis, where that's the Premier League where the money's at. So what you're going to see is teams, rival teams coming in for players. So that's just part of what it is. When you get rid of a squad of 20 and a squad of 20 Champions League players, you've got to expect your rivals to be coming in for him, and that's what's happening now. But with Werner, I think his heart and soul was there, the running, the energy was there, but he couldn't fucking hit the water if he fell out of a boat. So I'm just happy to see him and Richarlison linking up this season. Looks like a recipe for disaster. I can't see him. Who knows? I don't. He's Tottenham Hotspur, so obviously we want him to do bad. But if he does well, fair play to him. But it's a very, very slim chance. The way he performed the last few games for us, he was missing chances left, right, and centre. So
he's even gone out of favour at Leipzig. From what
he's there.
Yeah,
he's their fourth choice striker.
There you go.
Fourth choice.
He's fall behind Sesko, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's behind Paulson and behind Openda.
Openda. So it's one of them things, isn't it? Let's see how it goes. But it's looking like Banter FC, Tottenham are back again with Richarlison and Werner.
Well, what do we think the reception's going to be for Werner when he comes back to the bridge? I think that would be interesting.
What was it? Did Mount play? Has Mount played against us this season?
Nah,
he
wasn't this season. No.
Havertz got like a very quiet, like it was just silent. A couple of claps and me booing my lungs up. Gate 13.
That's what I feel like Werner's probably going to get, because he was always loved at Chelsea. I think mainly down to like the attitude and things like that, because he was a god awful football player. So I think he'll probably get a decent reception. Like, I can't think of the last player that we former player that we gave like a bad reception to in terms of in recent years. Obviously, you've got like Courtois and whatnot, but
Courtois, Morata, I think Sturridge.
Yeah, but like you could all understand those. Like Werner would never the thing I say about Werner is he never, outside of like the few comments about Tuchel here and there, like when he left, he's never really said anything negative about the club, and he's always been very respectful. Even when he was here, he was very respectful and never really blamed anything on the club. So he'll probably get a good reception. I could care less though. Like it's just as jokes. It's just was.
Did Hazard play against?
I'll wait for the United one. Yeah, Havertz came off the bench.
Yeah,
it was very quiet when he came on. There was like one or two, like a couple boos, but like most people were quiet. Didn't really know what to say.
I think that'll be like Werner.
Kovacic got applause. He got straight applause from all the Matthew.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think it feels like with Chelsea, and I could be wrong here, and please correct me in the comments if I am. It feels like we are respectful for the most part for players that leave, as long as they leave on good terms. Like, I feel like if we ever played Al Ittihad, Kante would get a great reception. Obviously, you mentioned Kovacic, Ivanovic. I assume Ivanovic, when we played at West Brom, got a great applause. I imagine it would be the same if we ever play.
Lockdown days.
Yeah, I imagine then that he would have got the same with Aspi. I think as long as you don't leave on bad terms, or you're not like Morata was, where he just complained all the time and things like that, then I feel like we do give our old players good receptions for the most part.
Matt's a different story as well.
I say Jorginho was mixed as well in the away game.
Yeah, and Jorginho is kind of understandable because he was never really liked to begin with. Yeah, Mount will be an interesting one because of how he left.
No,
even though
he's getting
like, I feel like he would be booed, but it'd be an interesting one.
Yeah, I think right now it's only Mason Mount, Courtois, Morata, and Lukaku. That's really in the shit list.
Yeah,
we won't ever see Lukaku again if he gets a Saudi move in the summer, so he won't ever have to deal with that reception, which is a shame. I was really looking forward to Lukaku returning to the bridge just once. I just wanted to see chaos, but we ain't gonna see that again. And to be honest, might be a little bit better.
Apparently, Tottenham have been keeping a close eye on him for the summer. I don't know.
Really?
If it's true, yeah. Lukaku and Tottenham for the summer, but could be the speculation. But they are looking.
I thought that
please give
speculation
me a
was fade
Lukaku,
away.
Werner, or Charlison front three. I need that just once.
I
Just
thought that
one.
speculation was fade away. I thought
Werner's not staying past this season. Like,
it's a cheap option to buy, to be fair. It's only 15-20 million euros. So
even so, like, I said
do
this
the whole
on
work rate thing and everything, get the fans on his side, get a couple key goals here and there.
I mean, if they want to do it for like a bench option, fair. But like I said this to you on your stream earlier, like, if like for me, if I'm Ange, I'm just playing a front three of Johnson, Kulusevski, and Richarlison, and then having a midfield that's solid and like tell Werner to hold bench, and then you get Son back, and he's never touching the pitch basically again. Like that's why this transfer's so weird to me. Like, it's just so weird. Like, all it is to like replace Son while he's gone for like a month or two, and then once he comes back, it's like,
yeah.
Yes, it's a weird purchase. Like you said, fourth choice forward. So I don't get that.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, I'm not here to understand it. I'm here to just laugh when it fails. So I look forward to Man United versus Tottenham next week. As you guys already know, Hater-Long will be there, so stay tuned for it. And yeah, never liked Werner anyway. Don't really care that he's gone. Just I hope it fails and I hope it blows up in everyone's faces because it's going to make for some sensational viewing. Between that, Mount at United, Havertz at Arsenal, we are feasting on other clubs this season. But the good thing is we are kind of starting to feast ourselves a little bit. Like we said, 3 wins on the bounce. We got 4 home wins in a row. Kev, I haven't spoken to you about this. I want to ask you, but like, what's your thoughts been on the last few games? And are things turning for you, or are we finally just beating winnable opposition? Because that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I don't want to push the negative bandwagon and everything, but I come out of every game just thinking, thank God we've won. Thank God we come out of that with 3 points. I don't know how you're feeling. Let me know.
We're just beating teams that we should be beating. Quite frankly, I had no reason to be getting excited, but you still got to be happy because a win's a win. I'd rather see W's than L's, regardless of who you're playing. I think last season we would have come into these games and probably got L's with the way we were going. Think about it. We was playing similar games last year.
100%.
We was playing similar games last year and losing. So there is a massive turnaround from last season. Massive turnaround. But at the same time, we should be beating these teams anyway. So we've got to stay grounded. I think once we get into February, when the harder games do turn up, that's when we can be judged more. But all we've got to do now is just build momentum. Beat these, like I said to Alex in the preview, start the strongest team against who do we play weekend against Preston. The first half was same as always, sluggish and bad. Second half, we came out, turned it around, got 4-0. Let's go to Middlesbrough, go and get another 2-3, beat Fulham in the local derby, beat Middlesbrough again back at home. Let's build momentum because wins, it gives you so much confidence going into, that's what we want to see, momentum and W's. And then obviously we can be judged when we come up against the harder teams. But in answer to your question, yes, I am happy. It's compared to last season, it's a lot better in all aspects.
Scott, do you kind of echo the same? Where it's like we're all just happy to just be in this position, but it's the lack of sustainability that our play style looks like. That's the biggest worry for me.
I agree, and I think what the games at the moment are showing me more of, or I'm getting pleased more with, is our like individual qualities starting to run through and come through. Like, you look at the goals we scored, if we're just going off the game yesterday, like, all of them came from individual brilliance. None of them came from, a pattern of play that you could see was coached. Like, you look at the first goal, it's just a quality cross from Gusto and a nice bit of movement from Brozier, where all he has to really do is just redirect the cross. Obviously, you got the free kick in the corner. You could maybe argue the corner we've worked on, but we've seen our set pieces this season. They've been dire. And then you've got the Sterling assist that I still can't tell, having watched it 3 times, whether he actually meant that or not. I can't tell whether that was a poor touch. It was like a deflection. I can't tell what it was, but whatever it was, it comes from Sterling making a brilliant run, beating 2 or 3 players, and then Enzo just being in the right place at the right time. And I think that's what's good to see in terms of the individual quality starting to come through, as I said. But on the other side of that, you can't keep winning games like that. Like we've seen with United previously, like sooner or later that quality runs dry, whether it's because these players are limited and they're just showing like a moment of brilliance, or you come up against a team that's just well drilled enough to stop that, and then you've got to rely on what the coaches or the manager is coaching, and we're just not seeing enough. I will say it was nice to see that he got angry. Apparently, a little bit too late. We're 20-something games into the season, and now's when you decide to get angry at performances. But it's nice to see, and I just want it to continue because, like I said, we deserve not deserve, but we should be aiming for 2 cups this season. Like they're both attainable, particularly the Carabao Cup, and if we want to get back to where we want to get back to, this is the first step on that.
Right, so what was this about Poch getting angry? What was that?
So there was a report that he was pissed at half-time in the Preston game, and he went down the tunnel before before half-time, before the half-time whistle, and apparently he was quite angry. And he said in his press match, like his post-match comments, that he was not happy with like the level we were playing at, or I think it was to do with like the intensity or something like that.
Low tempo as well, yeah.
Yeah, it was very slow. I hear that.
It's nice to see, but for me, it's just a case of like the only 2 games he's really got like that were Newcastle in this game, which is both when we weren't playing quick enough or pressing enough, and so it feels to me like it's not the aspects of like poor passing and things like that he's getting annoyed at. It's like we're not running enough, basically, is how it comes across.
Oh, okay. Well, that's how we killed that. But I do agree the tempo was a bit slow at times, and to be honest, the change-up did work. Like we say, it did come down to individual moments at the end of it, but we did look a bit stronger in the second half. I just think it was ideally just coming down to breaking the deadlock. Like, it's a lot of pressure on the Premier League side when you're playing these sorts of fixtures, and rightly so, because you're playing teams in lower divisions. But with the pressure that we've had this season as well, I can kind of see why we're a little bit nervous at times. But as soon as you break the deadlock, I could see the pressure start to come off the players. We looked a little bit more free-flowing, started making a lot more chances too. And 2 set pieces go in, we're 3-0 up, the game's done by then. Don't even want to say like we started playing a bit better in terms of our patterns. It's just we got a corner, scored that, free kick, scored that, game's done. Preston are finished by that.
I just think yesterday, in case of, especially with Preston in the first half, I think they were much better team in terms of how they were working their absolute nuts off in the first half. I think that was the main difference coming to the second half, because as soon as the goal went in, half their heads went down, and then the energy starts fading away. It's just that simple.
It's like mentally they thought once it's gone to 1-0, we ain't coming back from this.
Yeah.
Because even at 0-0, like we weren't necessarily threatening them too much, but maybe that Enzo header, there might have been another chance I don't remember. But they weren't doing much either. They had like one ball through from a Colwell error, and like it led to a little save, but it wasn't even that dangerous of a shot. So like
I disagree there, because I just think if they had more quality in that final third, maybe it could have been like maybe 2 goals. We could have been like 2 goals.
But that's the thing, they didn't have it. They didn't have it. So like when you go 1-0 down, you don't have the quality already. You're gonna think
the 14th in the championship. So these are the teams we should be absolutely steamrolling with them from the first minute. You shouldn't take. This is the thing about mentality. You shouldn't take a half-time drilling from your manager for you to kick into gear and finally start playing. You should just get the game done in the first. What we should have done is get the game done from the first half, and then the second half we could have made a couple of substitutions, kill the game off. But we're chasing games. The mentality is not quite there yet. It's we're building and we're slowly coming towards the team we want to see, but it's still not quite there yet. Like if you know you've got a game against Middlesbrough in the semi-final, you should be steamrolling them first half, and then in the 50th, 60th minute, then when Poch says, you know what, I'm taking off players, resting a couple for Middlesbrough. We still kept keeping out good play. We still got Enzo and players playing within in the 60th, 70th minute, because we didn't get the game done. We didn't start playing until the 60th minute. So
I rewatched that game against Aston Villa. I thought to myself, you know what, guys, if we can secure the goals early, like we could manage the game really well. But it's just us sometimes that I don't really get. Even like, for example, that Luton game on Saturday, we playing better in the first half, but then in the second half, up until the 70th minute, we look better, and then after that, we start slowly not fading away.
We can't play for 90 minutes. We can't.
That's the problem.
That's the thing. We're not. It's either we start slow and other teams get in front and then we chasing the game, or we have chances, we miss them, come back in second half, and then they score. And there's no. We need a 90-minute plan, and we need to stick to it. Right now, we're playing in little bits and bobs within games. It's not good enough. And when it's like that, it only takes a corner kick or a set play, and we lose in the game. This is what happening plenty of occasions now. Against Luton was 3-0 up, but we just about won that game. 2 set plays at the end, and it was 3-2. But we can't see games out. We're making it difficult for ourselves. So it's either the manager's got to install a winning mentality, or it's the players haven't got it in them yet.
I think it's the little bit of both, but I'd say the game management from the manager comes down for the most part, because usually what you see is that we're leading a game at halftime, and then suddenly we lose control of the game as it develops, either based off the change in structure or the tactics or the late substitutions or just the poor substitutions in general. Always seems to impact us whenever we usually drop points. Obviously, in some games where we win, it doesn't necessarily be a factor. But hell, even in games like Luton, we saw us putting Cuckoo up at centre forward. We saw us tucking the fullbacks, and we just conceded so many more crosses, and then we concede a goal from a set piece, or another one comes from a cross. It's always the same problem. It's just like you said, we never really seem to stay on for a full 90. That's why even with the performance, the results that we're having, not necessarily sold yet. It's just I'm glad that we're winning games. That's
his profiling of players as well is like absolutely awful. It's getting to the point with some players. I've said this as well to you, Lewis, and to others. Like certain players in this team, for me, will never reach what they can or should get to under this manager at this football club. And we're at the point where some of them, for me, like Brozier, where I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's quite one-dimensional at this stage in his career, but that's going to happen when you're a young kid. But he's not going to get to the level he should get to, because he's an effective player, in my opinion. I think you can get something at Southampton. Like, even though he's one-dimensional, you can still get something out of him. But Poch is failing to most of the time. And I think he's going to be someone who leaves, has a good career elsewhere, because he's going to be with the manager that knows how to use him. I see Mudryk in the same light at the moment. And it's Colwell's potentially another one. Where with these players, he just seems to be misprofiling a lot of players, or quite a few players, quite badly, to like their detriment. Some players he's profiled weirdly, but it's working. Like Gilchrist, I thought had a good game, and I think long term he probably will be a right back rather than a centre back because of his height. But yeah, there's just certain players that I think he's not helping, and then he's making it worse by trying to play them through form, or play them into form rather, and that never works. That never works in football.
Just like Sterling yesterday, that was a bit of a, even though he scored a worldie, but Madueke coming off back-to-back goals, it looks like he's finally finding his feet. Why would you drop him for Sterling again? I just don't want.
I was just hoping we're resting him for Borough. That's what I hope.
I just can't.
What I don't understand though with that is, like, I'm fine with Sterling playing, especially how I want. Like, if we were going to play how we were going to play yesterday, don't play Mudryk and play Madueke and Sterling. Because the thing that we were doing with Mudryk yesterday that I hate doing with Mudryk is we keep asking him to drop deep to receive the ball, and it's always under pressure, which that's not Mudryk's game. He wants to get the ball in space where he's one-on-one with a player. And he can't ever do that in the system. He's always the one dropping deep, especially because we had Gusto. And obviously he wants to like come inside because he's naturally right-footed. And so if you're going to get someone to do that, let Sterling do that. He's comfortable. He's done that at City. He's done that for us. He's comfortable doing that. Madueke is the same. He can drop deep, collect the ball in his half. And that's why I just look at it and go, you're not... I understand how you want to play to an extent in some games, but you're not using the players effectively, right players.
He's not playing the players to the strongest points, basically. Like Mason's a left back. So why are you playing Gusto left back? Why are you not playing Mason left back, Gusto right back? Like, some of the stuff doesn't make sense with what he's doing. And
this don't rate Matson at this point. I've just come to
be honest. I don't even know why he was in the squad. He apparently was injured and he's about to secure a transfer away. I don't know why he was in the squad.
Probably just some emergency left back option. I don't know whatever goes.
Just play the guy. Stop playing Gusto left back. I don't. Even if he doesn't rate him, you're playing against Preston North End. Just give the guy a game, innit? Like I just don't.
We had a left back on the bench as well. That Williams kid is a left back. We bought him from Derby like a year or two ago. He was a left back as well, but still don't want to play him. Like as I said, his profiling of players is just so weird. It's so odd.
And also, because I feel left back as well is the main priority that we're gonna have to get till next season, and the fact that I can't rely on Chilwell or maybe Cucurella where they don't have any offer, next to nothing in attack. It's just that we need to sell Cucurella and sign someone who is similar to Chilwell in both phases and also stay fit, because one of those players will allow us to have that consistency in the performances without changing much. For example, in this case, I looked at a couple of games this season. We got Cook in the left and right hand side, and the fact that we need someone to have a good left back and also balancing attack and defense that will allow Mudryk to perform even better. And for me, ideal choice would be like a player, maybe Theo. But the problem is that we cannot expect to get him without securing the European football.
I like the Wolves left back.
Nuri.
Yeah. He seems he's solid defensively, and he gets up well. He seems alright, to be fair. We can't be aiming for these world class Fiorendas and these world class left backs in our European football, unfortunately. So I think
we need Europa as a minimum. Europa,
any European football that can attract.
Even Conference League, I don't think would be enough. Well, we need Europa minimum.
I do think the only potential player of that level I think we could get, potentially, is Davies. Even without European football or like Europa League, I think we could potentially get him, but I don't know whether he'd want to come or like how much it would cost rather. But yeah, there are loads of good options. Like you've got Nuri. I like Robinson. I think he's a very good player at Fulham. You've got that Barco kid who's about to go to Brighton. There's a few others. That Kirkis kid, obviously, he only just joined in the summer, but he looks decent at Bournemouth. But yeah, that is a position we need to strengthen because we've got no one there currently. Our two left backs we've got are both injured, and even when they come back, I think they both lack something. They lack the opposite of what the other's strong at. I think that Cucurella doesn't really offer a lot going forward, and Chilwell is terrible defensively. And then you've also got the problem of the injuries. But yeah, that is a position we need to address, preferably in this window. I don't care whether it's a loan signing or like or something, but that needs to be addressed ASAP because Cole's so is so much better on the right, and we can't keep playing Disassi or Gilchrist on the right either for various reasons. So yeah, that needs to be addressed.
Definitely. I hope we can see some change up in the Middlesbrough game. I don't know where we're going to see that in the back two, though. Hopefully Gusto comes back in at right back. Do you think Cole will play left again and then Thiago Silva just goes back into the middle?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, and the rest of the team kind of speaks for himself. It'll be Enzo, Caicedo, most likely Gallagher, Palmer, Madueke, and Roja.
I don't think Enzo plays. I think Gallagher starts in the pivot.
Oh, so we're gonna do Enzo, Caicedo, Gallagher, and Palmer. Madueke.
Yeah, I think the only changes you're going to see are the three guys that came on that weren't the youth players, if that makes sense. So Madueke, Silva, and Gallagher, I think, are going to start, and then it'll be Gilchrist, Enzo, and probably Mudryk that come out.
We're gonna have Gallagher in the pivot again. Poor Caicedo, bruv. You're going to be holding that entire pivot by yourself.
Does he want to secure that maybe 2 or 3 goal cushion coming to the second leg? If he does,
that would be ideal.
That would be the smart thing.
But I
would want to
remains to be seen on that.
I just want to see us to kill the game very early so that we can have a breather coming to the second leg.
And anything's a result. Any win, even if it's 1-0, whatever it is. If we get a win up at the Riverside, Take it back to the bridge. This game's a match, really, innit? And that's what we need to do. There's no excuse for us to not go there and put a good performance in, play our strongest team, and get the win. And like I said, it's all confidence building. This is a semi-final of a cup. There's no other way. Like the lads should be getting motivated from the first whistle now. It doesn't. We don't need a half-time kick up the arse for us to get into gear against Middlesbrough. This is the semi-final of the cup. This is like some of the players on the pitch. This is the biggest game they've played in their careers. Some of them. So if they're not up for this game and they don't want to take a W back to the bridge for the second leg, I don't know what's going to get them motivated.
Yeah, they're not in a good form as well. They're
13th.
Yeah.
No,
they're only 1 point above Preston.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So they've been in bad form all season, Middlesbrough. So
I can't lie to you. I thought they were doing a lot better. Like before I found out they were in 12th, I thought they were in the playoff places because all I've been hearing about them is decent stuff. Also, when is the second round of the FA Cup game or the next round of the FA Cup games? Like what?
That'll be the weekend before Liverpool.
Yeah.
So wait, you said the weekend before Liverpool?
Liverpool,
yeah. So you know how we have Middlesbrough coming up, then Fulham, then we have a 1 week break. Is it in between the 1 week break? And then we have Middlesbrough.
The reason I was looking is because I was looking at
and then
because I was looking at the Middlesbrough games basically because I was looking at the Middlesbrough games, and without the FA Cup game, there's actually a huge break in between both. So we play Fulham on the 13th, and then we play Middlesbrough on the 23rd. So we've got a 10-day break, and then after that, we've got 8 days, and we play Liverpool. So
it'll probably be
I was
within that 8 days. The first one's the winter.
So I was kind of wondering.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me with how Poch is if with this game we basically just went out to not like pun not intended, but to protect the points, so to speak. Like we went out not to lose and to maybe nick a goal, and then in the reverse leg, because there's a bigger window, we play our strongest team and we're playing at home, so we look to blow them off the park. It wouldn't surprise me.
I hope you're not right. I hope, because that stinks, and I believe that.
I'll be real. I just want to see.
I swear, if I see this man park the bus at Middlesbrough,
nah, you can't be doing it.
You can't park the bus at Middlesbrough. No way.
You can't do it to us, man. Like, if people are traveling, taking time out of work.
He did it 3-0 up at Luton. He did it 1-1 at United. He is a terrorist. I wouldn't be surprised.
You can't do it. I don't think he understands how far Middlesbrough is. Middlesbrough's a few miles shy of Newcastle. That's how far it is. And it's an 8 o'clock kickoff on a Tuesday night. So if we go there and we don't get anything more than a W, I'll be pissed off. I don't know
I'm not saying
I'll be pissed off.
Are you going?
I'm 50-50 at the minute. I'm indecisive. I got a ticket, but it's just mad because I got work at 6 o'clock the next day.
So if your mates need a spare, let them know because I ain't going.
Yeah. I think I'm more on your side of it, man. I think I can't. I don't know if I can even be asked of it, but I don't know.
United, after United, I learned a lot that night. I don't ever go the extra mile for this lot if they're not gonna go the extra mile for you, and they won't. So I'm gonna park my butt right at home. If they don't win, I might not even go Fulham. I'll be so real. They have to win, or I ain't going Fulham.
I just checked the schedule as well.
You're not going to the home. You're not going to the home game.
No, I'm probably won't. It depends on the game. It's a 12:30.
Wow.
It's a 12:30, isn't it?
So we've reached that stage. Not only the aways, now even the home games. Now
even Sarri didn't get me like this. Lampard didn't get me like this. But this guy, man,
wow,
this guy is the most satanic manager I have seen. Some of the football and the decisions and the game management, it's atrocious. It's atrocious.
But you put me right off. I can't imagine being there on a freaking half mile in Middlesbrough. Like it's 1-0 to Middlesbrough. I'm thinking of that drive back at fucking 10 o'clock all day. But
that was exactly what me and Z had the whole time. My gut instinct was telling me, don't go to the game. Stay at home. Stay at home. I'm watching this dead Man United side make 25 chances in a game against us. And my gut's just telling me, I fucking told you, you dickhead. I told you don't come. Now you're here. We're standing here in the cold, watching Garnacho run rings around our defense. Well done. We were getting dominated by a McAmrabat midfield.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Brilliant.
I think he's saying it.
Hey, when we're watching 4 centre backs in defence and we're just trying to hold on against Middlesbrough, yeah, just remember this moment.
Even Anthony was cooking on that right side, man. I was vexed, bro.
I was fuming. Yeah. I was so enraged.
Yeah, I only travel like an hour because Manny's only up the road from me, but even that was a waste of my time. So if I go to Middlesbrough, oh man, it's like a 4-hour journey just for me. So, yeah,
it just sounds like the perfect concoction for a terrible night. Early January, late kickoff at Middlesbrough, probably going to be windy and -4 degrees or something. This manager's going might rotate, and God knows what the game is going to be.
I'll just check as well. After Fulham, like we got at least about 10 days to prepare. Like Middlesbrough.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying.
That's the winter break.
Yeah, they got Rotherham on Saturday.
That's why I said that. Like, and you know, this manager would be like, "Oh, I've got to keep an eye on Fulham. You know, they're going so well, so I've got to keep. We've got them as early kickoff as well."
This is the thing about mentality. He's got a Spurs mentality. If you just play, if you've got people, we ain't got no European football. We're playing once a week, twice a week max, just through this little January period. Just play your strongest team. Go out and play your best players, get the confidence going. Don't swap and change things to potentially get it out. Just go and play your strongest team. And this is the thing. It's Pochettino's mentality, and it's washing off on our club. Like, do you think Jose Mourinho back in the day would play a weekend team Middlesbrough away in the semi-final? No, he wouldn't. He'd bring all the big boys. He'd bring the big guns up because he wants to win. A win's a win. You don't want to be going to Middlesbrough and having a chance of losing, them having to turn it around at Stamford Bridge. You want to go there and win, so it's games and match them. So when you come to Bridge, maybe you can play a couple of youngsters then because the game's in the bag. Don't go with. It's not thinking of the fans as well. The fans that are having to travel up there on a fucking Tuesday night, they want to see a win. They want to see the strongest team. They don't want to see Yeah, it's just the manager, man. He's the manager's fucking. He's mad.
I also think as well it comes down to just the options in terms of rotating, where like if we had the options, obviously we'd potentially see Nkunku play, or like we would have seen Nkunku play against Preston, but he's now injured or not injured, or something's going on. He was meant to be on the bench against Preston, wasn't, had a hip injury, now doesn't, might be fit for Middlesbrough. Who knows what's going on? Like that's a mess. The fact we heard 3 things in the space of like 24 hours that all contradicted each other is insane.
I don't know the medical stuff. It's clear to see that the medical staff at Chelsea Football Club are in the mud. They're in the mud. Lavia got brought back. Lavia got brought back 1 game and it was injured in the same game. And QQ's played 1 or 2 games, injured again. James has come back 2 games, injured again. It's not the players, it's the medical staff. They are not fit enough to do the job. And that's the reason why we're getting injuries left, right, and centre. We got like 10 injuries as it is right now.
Down to the manager.
And the thing is, nothing's changed over a course of a year. The injury situation at Chelsea has not improved. It's got worse. Players are coming back and they're getting injured in the same game they're coming back. Not acceptable, man.
Yeah, and like I can the Lavia one I can allow. Like I did blame that on Poch and I was wrong. Like I can allow because that's an impact injury. Like you can't really help that all the time. But like the Nkunku one, the Badiashile one, I don't even know what he's now done. I'm trying to think of the other ones that have happened recently. Like all of these injuries, James. And this is the thing, and this is also why like we can't always play the strongest team because I don't trust that these guys. Like say we rock up against Middlesbrough playing the same team we did against Preston. Like I'm half expecting Enzo to get injured again. I'm half expecting like Gusto to pull up with an injury again. Like that's where we're at. Like I'm half expecting some of these like Madueke if he starts, he's probably gonna pull up with an injury again. I'm amazed he hasn't got injured, probably because he hasn't played that much. And that's kind of where we're at. And
every night
I'm not sure about the stats though. Yeah, I'm not sure about the stats though. I think we had about 100+ changes for our starting 11 since the start of Tuchel's season in 2022. 100+ changes.
Well, 4 managers will do that, to be fair. But like, if we isolate that down to just Pochettino, our backline changes way too much. Midfield never really stays the same. One day it's Caicedo and Enzo, the next is Caicedo and Gallagher, the next is Ugo Chukwu and Gallagher, and you just make up as you go along. There's never really
about the.
Okay, we forgot Ugo Chukwu.
No, the Gallagher just goes wherever he wants. Yeah.
I forgot about Leslie getting after his first game back, so he's out for 6 weeks now, which is.
We have Lavia. We have Lavia for half an hour, and he's fucking. Lavia's back out for a few weeks again now, isn't he, as well?
He's out for 3 weeks. Bruce.
He had one injury, by the way. He had one injury for Southampton, which was that summer he joined, basically. He had an injury. He missed 10 games. He came back in September. He didn't have another injury until he joined us, and has now had 3 this season.
I don't know what it is with us. It's either the medical team or it's the manager's not tactics, the manager's training methods. Because like I know people say this has been a problem for years, but this is a different team. It's not the same group of players that have been around for 4 years to say
there is previous.
It's down to the medical team and the medical team and the managers have got to coincide with each other, and have got to build a formulation to stop these injuries coming. If the players are training too hard, the medical staff should be telling the management, like, take it easy on that player.
Say that the manager could ignore them.
You've got to build his fitness. So I just don't.
The reason as well I put I think someone today in one of the group chats that I'm in, I think Lewis as well, put something in where when he was at Tottenham, there were reports of players questioning his training methods because of how many injuries they had. Like I think in his first season they had 60-something injuries, and for me now we're seeing a lot of injuries, and it's injuries that are happening in training, or we're basically not seeing, and it's the same injuries, or like it's the same people getting injured constantly. Actually, it's not even the same people; it's a bunch of people. But there's too many coincidences for me to think it's just like, oh, these are injury-prone players. Like I said, we signed Lavia having 1 injury, and he's now had like 3 since he's been here. Like he wasn't injury-prone before we bought him. He's now injury-prone. You look at like Nkunku, I think he'd had a couple of injuries, but he's now had again like 2 or 3. Badiashile again 2 or 3 injuries this season, and it's not Gusto. It's not even just the injuries; it's the fact of like there's setbacks. Chalobah,
Sanchez, fucking your goalkeeper got an injury in training. So what's going on there?
He got an injury, and then he played him in a game, and he made the injury worse. Like that's what we're dealing with, and that's why I put some of it. And obviously, not all of it's on him. Like I said, the Lavia thing isn't on him because that's just an impact injury. The Carney one isn't on him. That's just an impact injury. But apparently, I think he's had a setback. I could be wrong, but it's just there's too many coincidences for me with the whole system. Also with the medical team, we've changed the medical team like 3 times under this ownership. Like we had the people we had, then we got rid of them to get new people, then we sacked them to get the old people back in. So like we've had like 2 or 3 different medical teams, and it's still bad. Like they can't all be bad. Like,
the whole thing at Chelsea's been run like a semi-professional team right now. Do you know that? Like when you actually deep it upstairs, it's been run like there's probably semi-pro teams out there that are run better than Chelsea right now under these ownerships. And this is the reason why the whole lot of it sucks.
I would also look to the fact, I would also look to the fact that maybe these players cannot take care of their body better, like Thiago Silva said. Like Thiago Silva is 39, like he rarely gets injured a lot.
Has Thiago Silva even been injured that much this season?
I don't think he's been injured at all this season.
No, I don't think he has.
I don't know how many times he's been injured since he's been at Chelsea. To be completely honest,
hardly never.
No, there was one time start the season. I mean, in his first season. Yeah, remember AC got all those minutes, didn't he? The second season, I don't remember him being injured too much. Same with the third.
You see, it's a rare then.
No. Third season, I think there was Paul arrested him for that Southampton game. The idiot. Yeah, no, he was fit.
Yeah, he was.
I was thinking, was he injured? Nah, that would have made sense.
Oh, that's still a lie. He's had a few injuries. He has had. He's had a few. He hasn't had any this season. He's had two injuries every year he's been at us, like to varying degrees.
Silver's built different though.
Much.
Silver is
Like,
built different, man.
he only had like thigh problems and a knock, and then 3 times, and also
I say one of those as well was COVID. Yeah, so he's had 5 injuries since he's been at Chelsea, and 2 of them are basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's probably just a mix of different things. Then poor management with bringing players back, poor physical, the department of physics and whatever, and obviously they're looking after themselves because you put it like this: Thiago Silva's 39 years old and he's not getting injured. So why is Lavia and other players coming back and getting injured within half an hour? So it's got to be down to the players as well.
It is interesting to look at because you look at. I think I know a couple of people. I was watching a stream the other day. Were speaking about this. Oh, it was a stream I was on actually the other day. They were speaking about it. So you look at some players like Gallagher, Mount, and others like. They just never seem to pick up injuries, like at all. Like even Sterling as well. Like he never seems to get injured. He's always seems to be fit and ready for the most part. Like even Mudryk this season, I think the one injury he's had was impact injury. It was in the what game? I think it was the Wolves game because I think it was the same game Leslie got injured. I want to say. Yeah, outside of that, like he never really gets injured. From what I can remember, and I think there's a few players we've got like that just never seem to get injured. Caicedo's another one. So yeah, I'm kind of just interested to see like why that is in comparison to like other players. Like, are they doing anything different? Like you mentioned, Kevin, in terms of the way they look after themselves. Is it just like they're like, is it like physiologically speaking in terms of the way their bodies are? Like, yeah, genetics, things like that.
But it's down to the manager and the staff. The medic staff have got to come to conclusion about stuff though. They've got to be working together, and as well as that, it's about the people bringing the players in. They've got to do their research on the players as well. If they've got history, and Kinker's never had a good history of injuries. As much as he's a good player, why would you risk bringing the player in that's got a bad record of histories, knowing that he's coming into the most physical, demanding league in the world? Is he going to be able to keep up with it? And he isn't right now, isn't he? So it's everything across the board. It's got to be better decision making from everybody right now.
Yeah, let's just see how things work out over the next few weeks. And God willing, we see a few more players stay fit or return back to the squad. Because then we can have everyone back and there'll be a lot less excuses on the table. We don't have to talk about how we missed this guy, we missed that guy while we're struggling against the bottom half of the league. Sorry, what were you saying?
We're gonna bump into the hellacious run again by the time we get into the Man City phase.
Hey, I don't care. You gotta win these games. I hear it like this is the best opportunity for us to win games now, but when we get into that run of games afterwards, we should have more players back. So we should be able to handle it. Plus, apparently we play better against the better teams. That's still the Poch narrative. No low blocks. So hopefully more goals.
Also, as well, some of these players come back, it'll be nice to see kind of like the hierarchy of players in terms of where, at least with Poch, because I assume he's going to be here past the summer. So looking into next season, kind of where some of these players stand, the likes of Carney, the likes of like Fofana when he comes back, a couple of others as well, kind of like where, you know, when Joel and Cucurella are both fit, is Cole still going to play at left back? I imagine he will. But is that still going to be the case and things like that? It'd just be interesting to see kind of where some of these players fall, because I imagine some of them, depending on certain things, like for example, like a Chukwuemeka, like if he ends up coming back and is like 4th choice for that number 10, he's someone I could easily see being moved on in the summer, and things like that. So it'd just be interesting to kind of see where these players land once they're back fit.
Yeah, just on some transfer news quickly before we wrap up the stream. Andre Santos has returned back to Chelsea from his loan at Nottingham Forest. Thank the Lord, because that's one of the most pointless loans we've ever done. Obviously, not really our fault. It's not our fault. Forest sided by 3 players after taking him in on loan. Is what it is. But it's good that he's back.
It's definitely our fault.
You think it's us?
It is.
They had 5 before that. I keep mentioning this. Before we sent him there, they had 5 midfielders. One of them was injured, granted.
Oh, but I thought they only had 2 or 3.
Oh, they had 5 midfielders. One was injured, so they had 4. They dropped one of those midfielders for another midfielder and then bought another 1 or 2, I think. And then the guy that was injured came back fit. So at the time he came back, that he was 7th choice in midfield.
Oh, that's stinky then. Okay, forget that.
The thing is, though, it's Chelsea's fault, though. We should be doing. This is what I'm trying to. You should be doing your research to where they're going. You should be looking at what players that team's got and who he's up against. Will he get a chance of starting before you just? We've just got that player in thinking, to send him there, let them deal with him, and it's just backfired because now you've got him. He's coming back, and it's probably 6th or 7th choice for us as well. So we're now looking to get him back out for another loan. It's just a mess, man.
This is why I had so many questions in terms of front office about their decision making. Like you said, Kev, about do they even know about Nottingham Forest, like how many players that are in that position? Like he could have sent out at least maybe went back to Strasbourg or maybe other French clubs.
Actually, we might have been able to.
Yeah, we can because the affiliate club, I think you can send up to 4 or 5 players at a time.
So we can send 3. It was more like we only had 8 spots, but doing some more research, I think if they're under 21 or they're homegrown, they don't count against the 8 spots you have. So I think the 8 spots are only for like senior players or like over 21 and are not homegrown. That's why we can send Maatsen out to Dortmund because he's homegrown, even though we've got 8 loans at the moment, like European loans. Yeah. Also, Fatah's point. That's also why I don't want, because I think Lewis might mention, I don't want Fofana going on loan to Sevilla because they've already got like 2 strikers that are playing at the moment. And actually, from what I'm seeing, they play a 2-striker formation, but they're playing a Campos as a striker who's a winger, and they've already got El Nesri and they've got someone else, and they're about to get another guy on loan from Bayer Leverkusen. It's like he'll be like again 4th or 5th choice striker, which he already was at Berlin. So like, just these loans are
actually 7 loanies per season, by the way.
And this is the thing about what's the point of us getting we're just buying these players. What are we buying them for? What are if they're not ready to come in and do this stuff? If they're not ready to come in and do the stuff for us, don't buy them with the mentality that you can loan them out and they're going to improve somewhere else. They've got to be able to play for Chelsea first and foremost, and say if the competition's a bit too heavy, then you send them on loan. We're getting these players and there's no space for them in our team. So what we're doing is just rushing them, sending them to freaking everywhere, and it's backfiring because you've got players in the books that have got 7-year contracts. What are we doing? We're lowering them out, we're keeping them. Are they ready to play for us? Have we heard of them? It's just what's going on. It's just confusing.
Oh, I've heard this before. It's called Blooded Squad. Remember last season?
No, I think this is different, and I don't mind the buying players. My issue is because like it makes sense in terms of the loans and everything because that's how they develop. My issue becomes if you find poor loans for them, like as I said for Fofana, the Santos loan, like those type of loans. If you're doing those loans, then it's a waste of time because they're not developing.
It's very rare. It's very rare that you send a player out on loan these days and develops because there's a lot of.
I think it depends on the.
It's very rare. It's very rare. Very rare. I think with the Vitas model when we had Vitas as one of our teams, it was a different era. So I think we set man to the feet players there, and they did strive there. For the players that we're getting in, they haven't even settled into Chelsea yet. So they're coming from another club into Rust and going straight on loan. Whereas Mason Mount and players that we had for the youth knew about, they was always coming back anyway. But for foreigners that have improved, we don't even know anything about these players that we're getting on loan. Well, we're loaning out.
I think it depends on the scenario, and I think each player is different. But like we are developing some. That you look at Gabriel, you look at Casade. Both of those guys seem to be developing quite nicely. There are a few others I think that we've got, like Harvey Vale apparently is having a good loan at Bristol Rovers. I think like you look at some guys, and you look at like Arsenal did that with Saliba. When everyone said they should play him, he went to Marseille. I think it was had an incredible loan there, and I think it was to the benefit of him. And there's others like City do it quite well.
Omar Hutchinson as well. He's Ipswich are flying.
Yeah, Murray Hutchinson have one. He's having a good loan, and I think that's the thing. I think most of the domestic loans we seem to have done have been really good. Like the ones we've done in England, as I say, Casade, Hutchinson. There are others off the top, like Vale as well. There are probably others that I'm forgetting about, but it's just the international ones we seem to have messed up. And like Fofana didn't have a great loan at Berlin. Obviously, I don't think he'll have a great one at Sevilla. I hope to be proven wrong though. Yeah, like, and that's the thing. I think if we can just get the loan right in terms of like the scenario, I think it'll be good for these players because obviously they can't all play for Chelsea, at least at this moment in time. But yeah, we just don't seem to be getting the loans right, and I think we've had that problem before. We had that with Gilmore when he went to Norwich. There's probably been others as well off the top of my head I just can't think of at the moment. But yeah, so as long as we get the loans right, and if Santos is going to play good, if he's going to go out on loan, good again to a club that's going to play him. Like I've seen Palace are interested in. No, not another relegation team. Like send him to like Newcastle or something. I've seen they've been interested. Send him there where he's going to be playing for a team that's going to be playing decent football. He's going to be around other Brazilians, so it's going to be comfortable for him.
Yeah, but you're strengthening the rival, isn't you? A direct rival for a European spot, which is stupid. I'd rather send him to Palace.
But then I don't think he'll develop properly because I don't think he'll start. He'll be playing under a worse manager. He'll be playing in a relegation battle, which he was already doing, which is why he wasn't playing.
Yeah, because he just doesn't make. You got Lewis all there, and you got Santos. So two of your prospects, you send them to a rival for your European spot. It just wouldn't make any.
It's a double-edged sword, unfortunately, because like we need to send him to a decent level to develop, but then like. As you said, it's going to strengthen a rival, but it's like that or keep him.
Just pick your poison.
I would happily keep him as well. Obviously, we've got like injuries, Leslie, Lavia, etc. I'd happily keep him, but it depends on what Poch wants to do and what the ownership think would be best for him.
Yeah, I'll have to wait and see on that one. I think most of the news that we're going to hear is going to be based on loan moves. The whole Gallagher situation seems like he's going to stay, but like in the long term, it does depend on the contract. To be honest, with the injuries that we have, it might be better that he does stay, but we'll have to see what happens on that front too. Unless he resigns, he's either gone now or he's gone in the summer.
Yep.
Other than that, it's been a little bit quiet. We don't know what's happening with the whole Osimhen situation. There's talks over a pre-agreement, but it's all speculative right now. Feels like we might actually have a quiet window at Chelsea Football Club, but I mean, remains to be seen. Hey, it might actually be for the better. I do just need a little bit of transfer dopamine. It has been a while.
It started off pretty slow last year, though, January, because obviously with all this stuff with Potter and everything else. Yeah, and then everything just came up towards the end. But we needed a lot more last January than we did this January. I think we've got a lot more of a settled squad this year around. So can't see much happening. But you just never know with these Americans. You don't know what they could just go and splash out 100, 200 million on 5 youngsters. You just don't know, don't you? Like we've got linked with that lad from PSG. He's got to pay that young Brazilian. He's gone to PSG. What's his name?
Moscardo.
Yeah. He's gone there. And I was disappointed. We don't need to be doing this. We've got enough now. The only players that we should sign now is experienced pros that have got good leadership and something that they can add to this team because we've gone and signed enough youngsters now. I think the only thing we should be looking for is players that can improve our position because right now we're 10th place, so we need to improve our position in the league.
Facts. And I think that's a perfect way to end the video as well. Big up to everybody that's locked in. Be back next week.
One more thing.
Go on, Patter.
Get well through Sam Kerr because she's got ACL today as well.
Oh yeah, Sam Kerr damaged her ACL. Yeah. Thoughts and condolences to Sam Kerr and all of her family. Best of luck. So this injury crisis is ridiculous, but yeah, best of luck, Sam Kerr. Best of luck. Just awful news. But big up to everybody that's locked in. Episode 29 of the Blue Balls podcast. Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And as always, up the Chelsea.